It didn't start with disaster. It started with disappearance. Moments missing, memories blurred, opportunities slipping through your fingers like they were never meant to reach you. You felt it. The silent distortion, the strange heaviness, the sense that something in your story had been tampered with. That sensation wasn't imagination. It was interference. In the unseen realm, the architects of the old reality attempted a forbidden act. They tried to delete your timeline, not your life, your future, your influence, your evolution, your awakening, because they saw what heaven saw first. Your existence carries impact powerful enough to disrupt their structures, break their patterns, and rewrite outcomes they believed were fixed. So they targeted your path. They tried to erase chapters before you could reach them. They rewrote connections that were meant to lift you. They attempted to scatter your identity, fracture your self-belief, and blur the purpose woven into your spirit. But every deletion attempt triggered a heavenly override. Every path they closed forced a new one to open. Every moment they tried to corrupt was restored in stronger form. Every attempt to remove you only confirmed that your destiny was written outside their control. Your timeline didn't just survive, it resynced, it rebooted, it reconnected to the version of you they were terrified you become. You were never erasable. You were protected at the code level of creation. If you ever felt like parts of your story were stolen or altered, type 1111. It means your true timeline is reactivating, and nothing can delete what heaven secured. The first sign that your timeline was under attack wasn't pain. It was confusion. Moments that should have aligned didn't. Opportunities that were certain dissolved. People who were meant to stay drifted. Events that were perfectly set up collapsed at the last second. It felt like life was misfiring, like reality itself was skipping frames, like something unseen was tampering with the script. That sensation was a timeline glitch, the direct result of interference aimed at slowing your awakening. They tried to redirect you, delay you, push you into alternate paths that were never meant to hold your destiny. But here's the twist. Every glitch they caused triggered a counter glitch from heaven. Every time they shut one door, another opened in unnatural timing. Every person they removed, someone better appeared out of nowhere. Every disappointment they engineered forced you to evolve faster. You weren't being derailed. You were being recalibrated. The glitch wasn't failure. It was an indicator that your spirit could no longer fit inside the timeline they tried to force you into. Your destiny was expanding too rapidly. Your frequency was rising too quickly. Your calling was outgrowing their containment. So the old path began breaking, not because you were lost, but because you were slipping out of their system entirely. A glitch is not a collapse. A glitch is a warning to the enemy that the chosen one is slipping beyond manipulation. And from that moment on, you became harder to reroute, harder to influence, harder to edit. Your timeline started fighting back. There are years of your life that feel wrong. Not bad, just off, like you were present, yet somehow absent. Living, yet not fully alive. Moving forward, yet making no real progress. Those years felt like fog, like something was draining color from your story, like time was passing but you weren't. That wasn't depression. That wasn't laziness. That wasn't you falling behind. Those were the erased years, the seasons targeted by forces attempting to strip your timeline of momentum. They tried to blur your memory so you wouldn't recognize your calling. They tried to stunt your confidence so you wouldn't recognize your power. They tried to dull your intuition so you wouldn't sense what you were becoming. They hoped that if they couldn't fully delete you, they could at least downgrade you. But those missing years did something unexpected. They awakened your resilience. They sharpened your perception. They forced your spirit to strengthen without external validation. They thought those empty chapters would weaken your identity. Instead, they fortified it. Because even when you felt numb, your soul was collecting data. Even when you felt stuck, your spirit was evolving. Even when you felt erased, heaven was rewriting you. Those lost years weren't lost. They were backups, inactive copies awaiting restoration. And now that your real timeline is reconnecting, those erased seasons are coming back online. Creativity returning, energy returning, clarity returning, identity returning, the real you returning. The years that felt stolen are becoming the years that launch you. What they erased is now reappearing in upgraded form. Your story didn't stop there, it restarted there. Those strange seasons of delay, the sudden heaviness before breakthroughs, the dreams that felt more like battles and rest. None of it was random. You were experiencing astral interference, attacks not on your present, but on your future. They weren't trying to break who you were. They were trying to stop who you'd become. Every unexplained setback, every emotional dip that made no sense, every wave of confusion that hit right before alignment was an attempt to distort your timeline from a realm where destiny is shaped before it manifests on Earth. Some nights you woke up exhausted because you weren't sleeping, you were fighting. Your spirit was intercepting attempts to reroute your trajectory while your body lay unaware. Those nightmares? Those weren't dreams. They were spiritual intrusions. They were sabotage attempts trying to insert fear into your timeline's foundation. Those sudden losses of motivation, those weren't mood swings. They were disruptions designed to disconnect you from the path you were destined to walk. But every astral attack revealed something important. Your future was so powerful that it had to be fought early. They couldn't wait for you to arrive because once you fully stepped into your identity, you would become unstoppable. So they attacked the seed, not the tree. They targeted your potential, not your present. But what they didn't expect was the strength of your core. Because even in your lowest moments, your soul refused to surrender. Even in confusion, your spirit held the line. Even in weakness, you kept moving. You didn't survive the attacks by accident. You survived because you're protected in dimensions they cannot access. Your future wasn't canceled. It was defended. When they tried to delete your timeline, they assumed you only had one. They believed erasing your path in one realm would erase you everywhere. They didn't understand the truth. Your destiny exists in multiple dimensions. Heaven didn't store your purpose in a single location. Your assignment was backed up like sacred data across layers of reality: spiritual, emotional, ancestral, cosmic. So even if one timeline was tampered with, another version of your purpose waited in the next realm, untouched, intact, alive. Every chosen one carries what ancient mystics called a soul copy, a protected blueprint stored outside the reach of lower dimensional interference. This is why no attack ever fully broke you. When one version of your path got corrupted, another file quietly downloaded into your spirit. When you lost motivation, a new stream of strength rose out of nowhere. When a relationship collapsed, a new connection aligned instantly. When you felt your identity slipping, a deeper one emerged underneath. You weren't rebuilding. You were reloading. Your soul kept accessing backup files from realms they couldn't touch. They deleted opportunities. Your destiny restored them. They erased clarity. Your higher self redelivered it. They tried to corrupt your code. Heaven reinstated the original version. Every setback you overcame was actually a system restore. Nothing they removed was ever truly lost. It was preserved in a dimension they could never enter. You are not here because you survived. You are here because you were reinstalled. And now your timeline isn't just restored, it's reinforced. Attacks that once worked won't work again. Paths that once closed stay permanently open. Versions of you that were once hidden are now active. Your destiny is now running on protected file, the one that cannot be deleted, edited, or corrupted. You're operating from the backup they never knew existed. Every attempt to delete your timeline was met with a countermove, not from you, but from the higher forces assigned to you. The moment interference touched your path, the angelic divisions responsible for timeline integrity activated their protocols. Not the soft, gentle angels people imagine, but the militant ones, the guardians of destiny, the enforcers of divine order, especially the division aligned with Michael, the commander of cosmic warfare. They don't negotiate with darkness. They don't bargain with corruption. They don't tolerate tampering. The second they detected anomalies in your timeline structure, missing opportunities, fractured seasons, erased momentum, they deployed interventions designed to protect your destiny at the root. Sudden endings that confused you? Countermeasure. The collapse of something you thought you needed? Countermeasure. A delay that made no sense at all? Countermeasure. Being forced out of a path that once felt comfortable? Countermeasure. These weren't punishments. They were rescues. Every time darkness gained an inch, heaven took back a mile. Every time your future was targeted, a divine override corrected the distortion. Every time your spirit was attacked, your protection detail increased. There were nights you felt pressure on your chest. That was a battle. There were mornings you woke up lighter. That was a victory. There were days you suddenly felt guided. That was an escort. You weren't losing ground. You were being defended. Your timeline wasn't falling apart. It was being purified. They tried to push you into alternate paths, but the angels simply dragged you back onto the one written for you before time began. You didn't survive because you were strong. You survived because you were defended by forces assigned to uphold destiny itself. You spent years feeling misplaced, like you were living a life slightly misaligned, like something in your reality didn't fully match you. You moved through rooms that felt too small, relationships that felt temporary, opportunities that felt like copies of the ones you were actually meant for. It wasn't lack of gratitude. It wasn't impatience. It was timeline displacement. You were walking inside a version of reality that wasn't your original assignment, a placeholder timeline, a temporary script. Why? Because the interference against your destiny forced heaven to place you in a holding version of your life until the danger passed. That strange sense of this isn't really my life. That inner tug that said, I'm meant for something else. That quiet ache that whispered there's more wasn't delusion. It was memory. Your spirit remembered the real timeline, even while you live inside the altered one. This is why you felt disconnected from people who should have been close. This is why certain jobs, paths, and environments felt like wrong rooms. This is why you struggled to fully attach to situations others expected you to love. You weren't out of place. You were out of timeline. A soul cannot fully synchronize with a version of life that was never meant to last. But now the story shifts, because your protected destiny file has finally begun merging back into your present reality. The version of you that once felt distant is returning. The life that felt paused is resuming. The alignment you longed for is reactivating. The discomfort wasn't a flaw. It was a signal, a sign that your spirit was waiting for the moment heaven said, restore the original timeline, bring them back into alignment. And that moment is now. There came a moment, quiet, sudden, almost invisible, when everything around you began to feel different. You couldn't explain it, but something inside you shifted into place like a lock finally accepting the right key. That moment wasn't emotional. It was cosmic realignment. Your real timeline, the one written for you before interference, finally caught back up to you. You noticed it through small signs at first. Deja vu increasing, repeated numbers everywhere, feeling ahead of yourself. Ideas arriving too fast to write down, strange bursts of clarity. Emotions releasing without effort, the sense that you were remembering something you hadn't lived yet. These weren't coincidences. These were timeline indicators, signals that your destiny was resynchronizing after years of distortion. Synchronicities began stacking. People you needed appeared suddenly. Conversations aligned perfectly. Opportunities matched your deeper identity instead of the smaller version of you created by the false timeline. The fog lifted. The heaviness dissolved. The confusion cracked. Not because you improved, but because the wrong version of your life finally stopped pulling at your spirit. Your path locked into its true frequency. The one where your gifts make sense, your intuition speaks loudly, your strength feels natural, and your future no longer seems far away. When destiny resynchronizes, there is no need to force anything. Your life begins to move with a rhythm that feels eerily precise, as if reality were adjusting itself to your emergence. That's exactly what happened. Your spirit stepped back into the timeline that always belonged to you, and the universe had no choice but to rearrange itself around your return. Every force that tried to delete your timeline believed they were acting in secrecy, unseen, undetected, undefeated. They thought their interference was invisible, their influence unstoppable, their corruption permanent. But destiny does not bow to sabotage. Every enemy who targeted your future was operating under a fatal misunderstanding. They assumed you were operating unprotected. They assumed your timeline depended on them. They assumed your destiny could be edited by those who feared it. They were wrong. Because every influence that tried to erase you, delay you, distort you, or derail you was quietly removed from your path the moment heaven detected their intentions. That sudden loss of connection, protection, that unexpected distance, rejection, that betrayal that revealed someone's true colors, intervention, that person who vanished from your life randomly, extraction, not one exit was accidental. Every departure was a timeline cleanse. They tried to erase you, but they were erased from your access instead. Their influence revoked, their permission denied, their spiritual clearance terminated. Some enemies didn't walk away, they were removed. Some attacks didn't fail, they were blocked mid-execution. Some plans didn't collapse, they were overwritten by a higher hand before they could touch you. Even the ones who smiled to your face but doubted you behind your back found themselves pushed out of your orbit once your true timeline began to restore itself. Your life is lighter now because the weight that wasn't meant to stay has been forcibly extracted. They didn't defeat you. Your destiny defeated them. Their attempt became evidence that you are untouchable in ways they never understood. Enemies do not fear your power. They fear your alignment. Because once your real timeline returned, you became someone their interference could no longer reach. They tried to erase your timeline because they believed your identity was something fragile, something written in ink, something stored in memory, something tied to circumstance. But your identity was never earthly. It was written as code, divine, encrypted, eternal. Not digital code that could be corrupted, not genetic code that could be altered, but soul code, the blueprint heaven embedded in you before your first breath. Your purpose is not learned. It is remembered. Your calling is not installed. It is activated. Your timeline is not assigned. It is awakened from within. This is why you can never fully break. Even when you felt lost, you were anchored. Even when you felt disconnected, your core remained intact. Even when attacks came against your story, your spirit rebooted the truth again and again, because your soul contains an undeletable line of destiny. Return to original design. Every time darkness tried to shift your identity, that code recentered you. Every time trauma tried to rewrite you, that code restabilized you. Every time doubt tried to silence you, that code reactivated you. You were built with a fail-proof mechanism that guides you back to purpose even when everything around you collapses. This is why you've always bounced back faster than people expected. This is why your intuition always resurfaced even after confusion. This is why you couldn't stay small, couldn't stay hidden, couldn't stay silent. Your soul refuses to operate on a timeline that isn't yours. Your destiny is hard-coded. Your identity is hard-coded. Your purpose is hard-coded. Nothing they erased removed anything essential. Nothing they stole touched the core. Nothing they tampered with reached the seed. Your soul is the one place they can never access. And that's why you're still here. There were moments when anyone else would have broken. Moments when the weight was unnatural, when the pressure felt engineered, when the losses came too suddenly to be coincidence. You questioned your strength. You questioned your purpose. You questioned why you were still standing when everything around you seemed designed to push you out your own story. But the truth is simple. You're still here because your purpose outranked their power. Your assignment held a higher clearance than the forces that tried to erase you. Your destiny carried a priority level they could not override. Your existence was authorized at a level they could never reach. You survived what was meant to break you, not because you were lucky, not because you were stubborn, but because you were backed by timing, backed by design, backed by ancestral prayers, backed by divine architecture that accounted for every attack before you ever experienced it. You didn't endure the storm endured you and lost. Every trap they set became a stepping stone. Every delay they engineered became preparation. Every loss they designed created space for restoration. You are still here because the world cannot move forward without the version of you that is emerging now. Your voice is needed. Your presence is coded into the future. Your alignment is part of a bigger chain of destinies depending on you. You don't exist by accident. You exist by authorization. That's why death couldn't take you. That's why darkness couldn't claim you. That's why enemies couldn't stop you. That's why interference couldn't break you. You remain because you were required for what comes next. You haven't fully understood it yet, but your body, mind, and spirit have already detected the return of your real timeline. It's why you feel lighter without changing anything. It's why you feel stronger without explanation. It's why something inside you whispers, "You're back." Because as your true timeline reconnects, your entire being responds. Your energy rises. Your clarity sharpens. Your emotions stabilize. Your intuition activates. Your focus locks in. The version of you that always felt distant, buried, suppressed, hidden behind years of interference, is now merging with the present. You can feel it in subtle ways. Waking up with purpose again, ideas arriving with force, confidence returning in waves, peace settling where chaos used to live, sudden gut feelings proving true, the past losing its grip, the future pulling you forward. These sensations are not mood swings. They're timeline signals. Your spirit is adjusting to the upgraded path, the one where you operate from identity, not survival, from clarity, not confusion, from calling, not crisis. People around you notice the difference too. Some feel drawn to you, as if you're radiating a frequency they can't name, but deeply feel. Others pull away, because your emerging alignment exposes their stagnation. But nothing about this shift is happening randomly. This is the aftermath of your destiny reconnecting. You're moving differently because you are different. Your frequency is higher. Your path is clearer. Your spirit is louder. This is what it feels like when the distorted timeline ends and the divine one begins again. Your awakening didn't happen in a single moment. It happened in layers, slowly, quietly, then all at once, like a dormant system powering back online after years of running on emergency mode. This activation is not emotional. It is dimensional. Your intuition has become louder than external noise. Your inner knowing has become stronger than old doubts. Your awareness has expanded beyond what logic can explain. These shifts are not personality changes. They are timeline markers, the indicators that your soul has reconnected to its original trajectory. Suddenly you can sense people's intentions. Suddenly you can feel when something isn't aligned. Suddenly you can spot opportunities that were invisible before. Suddenly your instincts speak with authority instead of whispers. You're not becoming spiritual. You're becoming synchronized. This is why coincidences feel more like signals, why silence feels purposeful, why random moments feel orchestrated. Your life is no longer happening to you. It's happening with you. Activation also means your old identity no longer fits. You've outgrown the timelines that were built for a smaller version of you. This is why old habits feel dead, old cycles feel foreign, old environments feel suffocating, old expectations feel irrelevant, old fears feel powerless. You're not acting different. You're accessing your real self for the first time in a long time. Your soul has stepped forward. Your spirit has taken command. Your timeline has begun transmitting the frequency of destiny again. Activation isn't hype. Activation is recognition. The moment you stop living as a version of you the world tolerated and start living as the version heaven intended, you are not waking up. You are coming online. Author of time, keeper of destinies, one who writes beginnings before the world sees them. I come before you now with the full weight of what I survived and the full truth of who I am becoming. Restore every part of my timeline that was tampered with, delayed, distorted, or stolen. Return what was erased. Rebuild what was broken. Realign what was shifted. Pull me out of every false story I was never meant to live. Remove me from every version of reality that was constructed through interference. Break every loop that kept me stuck in cycles that were not mine. Reconnect me to the path you wrote for me in the beginning. The path where my spirit is powerful, my purpose is clear, my identity is whole. Let every fragmented piece of my story find its rightful place again. Let every lost year re-enter my timeline upgraded. Let every buried gift rise to the surface. Let every part of me that was silenced become amplified. I reject timelines of fear. I refuse timelines of delay. I release timelines of survival. I embrace the timeline of destiny, alignment, and divine intention. Shift me back into the life that carries your signature on every moment. Awaken the version of me that makes sense in heaven's design. Remove every interference. Erase every residue of attack. Seal my path so only alignment enters. Guide me with precision. Strengthen my intuition. Guard my future. And let my restored timeline become proof that nothing written by heaven can be deleted by lesser hands. If you've read this far, your spirit already knows the truth. Your real timeline has reconnected, not metaphorically, not emotionally, literally. In the unseen structure of your destiny, you can feel it, the clarity, the energy, the sense of direction, the awareness that something inside you has clicked back into its rightful place. This CTA isn't about comments. It's about confirmation. Typing 1111 is not a ritual. It's a signal, a declaration, an activation code. It means, I agree with the restoration. I accept my original timeline. I reject every false version of my life. I step into the alignment that was written for me from the beginning. It marks the end of the distorted path and the beginning of the divinely authored one. When you type 1111, you acknowledge your destiny is not weak. Your purpose is not erasable. Your story is not over. Your alignment is returned. Your spirit is awake. Your future is already unfolding. It is your way of saying, I'm not going back to who I was. I'm not living in the old timeline. I'm not shrinking to fit false versions of myself. I'm stepping fully into the life that heaven protected for me. No interference can reach you now. No distortion can pull you out. No enemy can access your path. No force can delete what has been restored. You are operating on the protected version of your destiny, the one they tried to erase but couldn't touch. This is your signal. This is your moment. This is your declaration. Type 1111. Seal the restoration. Confirm the alignment. Mark the return of your real timeline. They tried to delete you. They failed. Eternity didn't. You are back, fully online.